This is a 2017 Les Paul Classic, and I wanted to show you a few things on how to make your Les Paul better playability. And I prefer more of a vintage guitar, or at least a broken guitar, you know. And I like more sustain, and for the chords to be real easy to play, and all in key, and low action, and very easy to slide up the neck. Now with the classics, they come, you know, with the zebra pickups, so I put the Zebra 57 Classic pickups. So I bought these nickel covers on eBay for $9 each at philalouthiers.com, Philadelphia Luthers, on eBay for $9. They're nickel, very thin pickup covers, so you don't lose much of the pickup sound. I don't care for the zebra pickups too much. And another thing I did, I put the, you know, poker chip on there. And also I put a Faber Bridge. As you can see, the Faber Bridge is much better than the Gibson Bridge. It's one piece that you put right. They're very easy to install. Very simple. And the Faber sends you all the stuff to install it. The only thing you'll need is a tap, the right thread tap to put threads in the wood to screw the post in. But it's a one-piece post, so you get much more sustain. Also, you don't have the wire and no rattle. And they're awesome bridges, the best bridges out there. I only use Faber on my Les Pauls. I hate that two-piece. And here with Gibson, they put the Nashville conversion kit, and it just wobbles and loose, and you get a lot of rattling. And there's much more clarity and sustain with this bridge. Also, what I do with my guitars is I lower the frets. As you can see, the frets are much lower than if you were to buy this guitar brand new. I level and crown the frets to make it more of a vintage style guitar and really, really low action. One thing about the 2017 Les Pauls that I really like, the way they do the binding curve, and it's real thin binding. I even have a little bit of cracking right here because the binding is so thin, which I like the thin binding. I don't like the real thick. I like a small, comfortable neck. You know, this is more like the old 60s guitars, where they even had that little cracking. Also, with the 2017 and 2018 models, sorry for the camera moving, they use low-dense mahogany. It's not like the old classics, where they used like a crappy mahogany, real heavy mahogany. This guitar weighs about 8 pounds. And another thing I look for is the lighter Les Paul. You know, sorry about the camera moving, but you know, I try to find about between 8.5 pounds. And one thing about the 2017 models, most of them are pretty lightweight and have great tone. Great tone. Even dry, this guitar just rings. With the Faber Bridge is incredible. And also lowering the frets gives it a lot warmer tone. As you can see, the frets are really low. Not too low. Not low enough to where your finger hits the fretboard. I lower it to where it's nice and smooth and has that old feel. And another thing with the 2017 models and 18 models, I noticed classics, they have really dark rosewood fretboards. This rosewood fretboard is really dark and nice. I mean, great tone. I was surprised. The only thing with the classics, they're hot pickups. So you do have to roll back your tone knob and roll the volume down just a little bit to get that warmer tone with a bite, because they are really hot pickups. So when you put the volume full blast, now you can put the volume full blast on, you know, like amps that aren't tube amps. So the tube amps, you want to roll the volume back a little bit. It gets a little tinty sounding because the pickups are very hot and they're not aged. But they do a really, Gibson did a really nice job on these guitars. I mean, this guitar, I play it a lot. It has some scratches and stuff. I mean, this is my player's working man guitar. Okay, I'm not worried about scratching it up. I got some little dings on it. So it does have a little bit of figure to it. You know, you can see it in certain angles, little figure. But I do recommend these 2017 models. Now, I haven't played the 2018 with the P90s. But I know the 2017 models are really good classic. And the neck is nice and thin. I mean, this is a thin neck, as you can see. Perfect. I mean, you can shred on this guitar. I had it, you know, the traditional I have on the video has a really fat neck. Kind of not my style because my Stratocaster has the 1 5/8 ones. I have a super thin neck on my Stratocaster, like an 80s neck. And that's the kind I like, real small necks that you can shred. And they feel real comfortable, not big and bulky. You know, I want to have it nice and comfortable. They say you do lose a little tone, but as you can see, dry. And I don't like buzzing. I can't stand a guitar that buzzes in any way. You know, I take my time, I do the frets, as you can see how low these frets are, but you can still get your finger on them really easy. Now I use vintage frets on my Strat so you can feel the wood, but this, you can't feel the wood. And as you can hear, you don't have that teeny fret sound like when you first buy your Gibson, where it has that like ting, because the frets are so big. So I lower my frets to get a lot warmer tone. And you can watch, they have all kinds of videos online, you know, about lowering your frets. I usually just tape up the neck, take a block of wood about that long, start with like a 100 grit to lower it, then go to like a 250, 400 grit, and keep working higher. Once you get to the 1,000 grits, then you don't need the wooden block. You can just, but then you have to take it, and once you level them, you take a file and crown the frets. It's a long process. It takes about 4 hours, 5 hours to do, but it's worth it. And as you can see, it made this guitar more like a real 60s Gibson. But the main thing is the weight. You want to get between 8 and an 8.5 pound guitar. 9 pounds is getting a lot heavier if you want that really good tone. 8 pounds, you know, lightweight, and they use low dense mahogany. This is not the heavy. They use the same mahogany on this guitar as they use on the standard. I don't care for the 2-piece too much, but I haven't noticed any difference between 2-piece and 1-piece. I mean, as long as the grain's all going the same way. And Gibson does a pretty good job of that. And these are a few tips on how to get your Gibson Les Paul to sound really, really good. Now I'm going to give you a quick, you know, how this guitar sounds through the tube amp. And leave your comments. And I do recommend getting the Faber Bridge for all your Les Pauls. See, look at that. The Faber Bridge is amazing. It just has so much more sustain to it. It's worth the $70. I can't stand that Nashville conversion kit. You know, I would just put a regular ABR in with the ABR, one single post and the bridge. I don't understand that conversion kit. And also, I usually lift up these plates a little bit. It's kind of down because I've been playing it a lot. I usually raise this plate so that bolt doesn't go into the body, but hey, this is a player's guitar. I could care less. I mean, I want this guitar used and played and to sound great. And the coloring is awesome. I love the color on these new Les Pauls. They did a really good job. Hope you liked the video. and I'll let you hear how the guitar sounds through the tube amp. Also, you want to make sure that your stop tailpiece is not raised up too high. You want that sustain to make your chords tight. And when you play your notes, you have more control on the bends. You don't want this real high, because then your E chords and stuff will sound out of tune. So you want to make sure this is basically to where it doesn't touch back here. As you can see, where the string just barely goes over this back edge. You want to have that arch and the angle on the string to get the right sustain.
Mm-hmm.